Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Changing Times and I am Dr. Zubair Khari. The Operation Zarb-e-Azb is going on successfully, and according to the sources that are emanating from the ISPR, it is now in the last stage of its completion. The IDPs have already started to go back, but still we are facing the brunt of the terrorists. Perhaps these are the last counter punches that are being delivered by the so-called militants and the terrorists. The latest attack in Lahore was the last call in this connection, and not only the Prime Minister of Pakistan but also the Chief of Army Staff took a very serious notice of all these developments, and they said that now once those areas where operation was not going on, particularly in the southern parts of Punjab, they have started operation in those areas as well, and no discrimination is being made between the people who are sympathizing with these terrorists. They are providing funding to them, they are providing support to them, or the planners or the leaders. So everybody are being taken to task. So these are the future developments that we are expecting to see, that how this war against terrorism will continue. The Operation or National Action Plan is also underway. Simultaneously, the things that are happening in the region also need to be taken into consideration. Just yesterday, we talked about the capture of the Indian spy that was working in Pakistan. The commander of the Indian Navy, Kulbhushan Yadav, was one big development. It was one unprecedented move, and it's a big cat that Pakistan has in its hands. So we will see that these international or the foreign hands that we keep talking about have been playing the role inside Pakistan, how we are going to take care of them. It's a very important discussion. Let me introduce you to the guest I have. I have Dr. Rizwan Nasir. He is teaching in Comstat Institute of Information Technology and teaching in Political Science Department. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doctor.
And we are also joined by Mr. Kamar Chima. He is teaching in National University of Modern Languages, and he's a very frequent visitor to our show. Kamar sir, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Rizwan, if I may start with you, after this Lahore attacks, things have started to move a bit more fastly towards these terrorist havens, particularly in the southern parts of Punjab. Where do you see this whole thing going on now?
In my viewpoint, I would say that government has taken a very good initiative, because I would say this initiative was supposed to be taken before. We have to first destroy the sanctuaries of the terrorists where they are living. And southern Punjab is said to be a stronghold of the terrorist. This decision was taken after the Lahore attack. I would say that it was supposed to be taken before. Now, there are a few things we need to look at this. We need to look at two things. One is, are still people supporting this initiative? My viewpoint is that still government has not up to the standard putting efforts to bring people to the place where they would be looking at terrorists as terrorists. Still people are sympathizing those things, and that is a really big challenge for the government. Secondly, terrorists, they still are attacking on various places, like innocent are being targeted, like our military and our security personnel, they are also being targeted. It means they still have the valor to target our innocent people and our security personnel. Now government need to chalk out a strategy, a very comprehensive strategy. National Action Plan is a strategy, but I would say it's a short-term solution to the ongoing situation in Pakistan. If government is curbing the terrorism through guns, that is not a long-term solution. We also need to initiate a strategy which can de-radicalize the people in common people. People still are supporting them. Of course, if they need some refuge, where are they taking refuge? They are taking refuge among the innocent people or the common people who still have sympathy towards them.
Okay, let me go to Kamar. Kamar, do you agree with this, that the National Action Plan is largely a short-term solution to this whole crisis-like situation of terrorism in Pakistan? If you look at these, the military courts, the hanging issues, the going after the militants as far as the Operation Zarb-e-Azb is concerned, but the radicalization or the mental makeup that has been brought up in Pakistan, and also the people who are being imposed into this paradigm shift of terrorism, they are not being taken care of.
Well, Dr. Sabif, I would say that the government has divided the strategy to deal with the terrorists and the criminals in two ways. The first one is the hard component, and the second one is the soft component. In a hard component, the government is getting very aggressive. They have been aggressive. We have seen the Operation Terrorism is going on, and we have seen that after the Lahore attack, it's in fact the criminals and the terrorists have been running in the Indus Delta region of the Punjab. That is basically the southern part of the Punjab and the upper part of the Sindh. That is basically a big area where the government has been working, and there is going a coordinated effort by more than 1,600 people, soldiers, law enforcement agencies, from police, from elite force, from the Punjab Rangers, and even the militaries there, and even the people are on the run. In fact, what we have to see is that there needs to be a well joint coordinated approach for this. But we have seen that the hard component is going good. People are running, but the problem is that the soft component is weak. And for the soft component, we have to look at how, in fact, the civilian administration in all the 4 provinces, even Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, is working. So the problem is with the soft component, and we just have seen what has happened in Lahore a few days ago. The Jamaat-ul-Dawa is running a parallel judicial system where they have been issuing the summons to the people to come. And I was reading a report today on Newsweek that more than 5,000 cases have been resolved by them. So the point
Isn't it the panchayat system that is already there, or the jirga system that we have in Pakistan? In some parts, there have been the Musalati Anjumans, but officially run by the United Nations Development Program. So if they are running in the name of Jamaat-ul-Dawa, perhaps that is problematic for us, or the panchayat system is already there. We are altogether against it, like the alternative dispute resolution system.
Yeah, these systems are there, and the government basically supports that, and every police station has that system. But the problem is that you cannot use the word court. Court can only be used for the government, judiciary.
We're saying
One thing.
the panchayats that we are running.
The second thing, Doctor, they are also issuing the summons. A summon can only be issued by the government authority. An office, a government office can issue the summon. So that is what they have failed to basically give an answer of that. And this is that they have failed to defend basically that if they have issues the summon, then how they can defend that. So what they have said that while just to go for a damage control exercise, the Hafiz Saeed and other people have been saying that we are going to shut down all that process. So just to take the eyes away of the government. So this soft component.
There is some problem in the governance. The people and these extremist elements just exploit those.
Yes, definitely. We know that the justice system is not providing justice as it should provide. So people just find a solution there, and then especially there are ideologically motivated people who have soft corner for these religious Islamic groups, parties. So they may take you to that and may call that this is a religious system. This is under the Sharia. We are just following the Sharia law, so there is no bad in it. So and people just say that let's not go to the police station. There's a bribe on and so on, things like that. So let's go into this thing.
Okay, Rizwan, if you talk about this narrative building or the soft thing that Kamar has just pointed out, the point here is that we may not be focusing on this thing because our people are deeply involved in their religious feelings. They have that kind of a mantra in their minds that Islam, and of course Islam is the solution of all the problems, but this Khilafat system or the system that we can based upon the 1400-year-old the Rashidun Caliphate that we can bring about in Pakistan. Isn't it the case, not only the madrasas, but the common man, they also want the Khilafat system in Pakistan?
Unfortunately, Dr. Ghori, I would say there is a huge divide between our society. One class is the liberal class. Liberal class means I'm an educated class. They know what are the repercussions for this. And they do not support this kind of based on we have legal system. We have all the solutions, all the problem in our society that is through government and governance. They do not support this centuries back, even Khilafat system, Sharia system, that is not a solution for them. On the other side, we have another class which is unfortunately makes a major chunk of our society, that is uneducated class. And they are looking for the solution among those ideologically motivated systems. So I would say that major chunk of society which wants that, they are supporting that. Now that is a divide in our society.
No, let me interject here. It is not the case. I have met many people. The defunct organization that is defunct in Pakistan, the Hizb ut-Tahrir, but it is very much legal in the UK. Very educated young men studying in Oxford University and Cambridge University. They are the prime advocates of Hizb ut-Tahrir, which is the biggest champion of this Khilafat in the world as far as Islam is concerned. So these poor or the illiterate divide may not be working here.
Well, it depends. In our society, I have personally been visiting various countries, various cities in Pakistan. I'm currently conducting a research on de-radicalization issues, how to de-radicalize our society. I have found out that people, they just want that all the solutions, every solution lies in one system, that is Islamic system.
Okay.
And that they do not think that our country is an Islamic country, our constitution is Islamic constitution, and it has solution to every problem.
Okay.
So let's come back to your point that why we
So
have.
is it the divide between the haves or the have-nots?
Yeah, indeed it is, because if you in de-radicalization, what do? We just pick up the people and put them in, isolate them from other people, and we educate them, literate them, and let them know what is real Islam, what is Islam's real teaching. And then after some time, if you take the model of United States, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Norway, Denmark, what have they done? They have been very successful. Even in Pakistan, Sabawun and Sawat, we started and we have been very much successful. Once we picked up people, isolated, once we taught them and we aware them what Islam is, one Islam is advocating. That is not the Islam other people are, in the so-called people, in the name of Islam, they are motivating, they are.
So what about the disillusionment of the people against the system, that justice is not given to them? I am myself one of the factories of this justice system, that years and years pass by and people do not get justice. If you go to the educational system, if you go to the health system, if you go to the security system, so this disillusionment of the people is going grand by the day.
That is because of the poor governance. If we deeply look into this, the poor governance is the root cause of the system, which is not letting other institutions in Pakistan letting work properly. Even you said institutional system, I do understand, I agree with you. Even judicial system, people, they do not have faith in our judicial system. The reason is that
That's why the Jamaat-ud-Dawa is holding their own courts.
As Dr. Hori and you, Mr. Chima, are talking about Jamaat-ud-Dawa, he is right that they summon, and I would say technically arbitration, they use the word arbitration. In arbitration, two parties, two conflicting parties, with their own will, they choose arbitrator. So once they are not even legitimate, not university, they call you and summon you to resolve your dispute. So in my viewpoint, it is the problem of the haves and the haves not. And if you see, this is more in southern Punjab, in Upper Sindh, as compared to Islamabad.
Let me go to Qamar on this. Qamar, you both are, if you want to jump in, you can. You both are teaching in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, the elitist of the elites, and one of the bigger universities in Pakistan that you are teaching. How about the students that you interact with? Don't you think, I myself a teacher, I interact with the people across Pakistan, internationally as well. Whenever I talk to the Pakistani student, they come up with this one-page solution that we should have Khilafah or the Islamic system. They don't want to do the details and the complications and the hardships that the people have gone through in the democratic system that we have internationally all over the world. They simply want to have that Khilafah, that they get damned to the economic system or the political system or the social system that have been developed here and there. What is your experience of talking to the youth?
Well, I have been talking and I have been teaching on all that. But what I have felt, Dr. Saab, is that there is an absence of dialogue. And that absence of dialogue is that the government or the political parties have failed to make the public and especially the youth, failed to make them understand that democracy is the only solution that is also being supported by the theological ideas of Islam. This is what that needs to be done. But unfortunately, all the political parties, they don't have that kind of intellectual cells within them where they can just target the people that the system we are having, that system is needed, this is legal, and this is what Islam says. There is an absence.
Islam is very much democratic.
Islam is very much democratic. And Islam basically talks about shura. Islam basically says that go with shura. For example, we have this parliament and that is Majlis Shura of ours. So what kind of Majlis Shura needs to be in 21st century? That needs to be decided by the people of that country or the people where they're living. For example, Islam just says that go and resolve your matter in shura. Now what would be the constitution of the shura, how shura would be constructed, this has not been decided. So this is left for the public, that living in your time, when you would be living whatever the time would be, just make the institutions more stronger. The only problem is that the Muslims have went for strengthening institutions, and what we have done, we have lived in kingships. So the problem is that the only thing we basically got, or only thing we inherited, was the kingship, or we saw the Sharia back in the after the Prophet time, and then we have seen the kingship. So there is the people's either they look at kingship or they look at the shura system. So there is nothing, or people have not been guided. And same is the crisis with the youth. Majority 60-70%, 80% people in Pakistan, especially youth, they believe we need to have Sharia, and they do not know the repercussions. They do not know that the Sharia cannot come today in 21st century, how that needs to be done. So this is what I have been saying, this is what I have been talking to my students, and I have been talking on forums as well, that the governments need to have a dialogue with them. Every party that comes in that has a manifesto, or every party that basically talks to the people, they need to tell them what has happened. That with the religious Islamic parties in Pakistan, in their manifesto they write that we are going to have a Sharia, or we are going to have this.
They play for the gallery.
That is,
but the point here is the people of Pakistan, except for one or two instances, particularly this previous rule in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa of Jamaat-e-Islami and their leaders, MMA, except for that one rule or here and there seats that they are getting, the people in Pakistan at large do not vote for them.
They have never voted them. Even in the peak in 2002 to 2007, they only got 11% votes. And in 2008 and onward, the Jamaat-e-Islami didn't participate. And then what happened in this time in 2013, Jamaat-e-Islami just got the 3 seats in the National Assembly. So just, and perhaps 10 seats got by.
Then why we are saying that Pakistani youth is radicalized?
The problem is that, sir, the problem is that, where is the issue? The issue is majority of the people to whom these religious Islamic parties ask, we will give you Sharia. What happens? When they come into the government, they are not in a position to translate themselves into a Sharia, or they cannot bring a Sharia-based system. So what happens? Those people who have been basically motivated and
Didn't the MMA bring the Hasba bill?
That is not an equivalent to Sharia, but that is a one,
the one effort that
but
there's a feather in their cap.
But struck down by the federal, the government. The point is that those people who are basically promised Sharia, what happens? Their party is unable to convert the system into Sharia, and those guys, in fact, those people or those youth, they get frustrated. And once they get frustrated, they move into the religious terrorist groups, even because they believe in Sharia.
Let me go to Rizwan. Rizwan, coming to this point of conspiracy theories, unfortunately, Pakistan is one of those countries where conspiracy theories galore.
Of course.
You just float a conspiracy theory, and the people are happy to buy it. Not only buy it, take it home with them without any of their thinking about the costs that they have. The conspiracy theory that we talked about, that Indians' involvement or the foreign involvement in Pakistan, that should not keep us working on our own home front. The capture of Kulbhushan Yadav, isn't it the case that this is one big catch? We all agree that, and it also proves the foreign involvement inside Pakistan. But it isn't the case that it is strengthening the hands of the conspiracy theorists, that, didn't I say that it is the foreign hand, it is none of our internal problems?
You are absolutely right. Conspiracy theories are well welcomed in Pakistan. Any kind of conspiracy theory. Once you float it, people receive it with warm welcome. Kulbhushan Yadav, yes, it reflects that India is still having that Cold War time feelings. That was very common during Cold War times. The states, they chalked out strategies to stabilize other countries and just not to let them make progress. In Pakistan, I would say yes, there is an external element which is quite obvious from situation in Balochistan and our border areas with Afghanistan. But at the same time, there are internal issues, serious internal issues that need to be resolved, that need the governance, proper governance. Once it is delivered in our areas like Balochistan, they are underprivileged. Poverty is rampant there in Balochistan. Once we say we have resolved these issues, and when we say these people, why are they saying external elements, then we can blame India. First, we need to
My question is, haven't we rather, I'm sorry for this phrase, haven't we strengthened the hands of the conspiracy theorists that this is a big catch and this is the proof that we wanted to give it to you? So forget about the internal problems. We are very much good at our home. Just target India only.
it strengthens conspiracy theories to in my viewpoint.
Yeah.
Look, India is doing that. There is no doubt about it. Our law enforcement agencies have presented ample proofs. These are the proofs. Our internal minister and our even security agencies, our rangers, they provided ample proofs that why India is doing this in Balochistan
Yeah.
through even Chabahar, and as it was Kulbhushan, he himself confessed what was the route. And for me, I would say this is, still the Cold War time thinking. I
Okay.
would like to comment one more thing, Dr. Wari, as you were talking about the youth.
Yeah.
I have been teaching the students in the classroom, and it's my favorite thing to conduct a survey among them. I find out the people who come from rural areas, they still want Sharia.
Okay.
And the people, the students who are from urban areas, they say, yes, it may be Sharia, but at the same time, it may be a dictatorship as well.
Have you gone one step further to asking the people, whatever side they are taking, why do you want to have Sharia and why not?
That's the question I asked them. They say because Islam gives a solution to everything. I said, if you see the thing they are motivating, they are propagating, that is Islam. That is not an Islam they are propagating. Even the so-called terrorist groups, what is their ideology? Their ideology is just to scare the people and get some chunk in the power. And they are terrorizing. That is the main thing. And I said, it is quite obvious from the seats in Shura, as Mr. Chima was talking about in the parliament, how much mandate they have taken from the public.
Yeah.
Public does not want them. That is quite apparent from their.
And we are also saying that Islam is very much democratic. It wants
Islam is-
Shura. So
Yeah.
what else you are wanting?
Let me add something. I just had a survey, and not in one class. I had survey in 2-3 classes. And what was the survey? There were about 30-40 students, and I asked the question, do you want Sharia? And majority of them said we want Sharia. Okay, now I asked the second question. To whom did you vote last time? And the question was, someone said I voted for PTI, someone said I voted for PMLN, someone said a People's Party, and someone said a Jamaat Islami. But to all those, PTI, PMLN, and People's Party, I said your party to whom you voted, they do not promise Sharia.
Yes.
And
Why
they
did
were
you vote for
all
them?
and they were all blank in this, that yes, they don't promise Sharia, and you want Sharia, but you do not know to whom you are voting for. They do not talk about Sharia in the manifesto.
So the
they-
aspirations and the practical reality are poles apart.
Poles apart. They like what happens into the dharnas of People's Party or PTI. They like what happens into there are political congregations of PMLN or People's Party. They like the music. They like everything. But at the same time, they like the Sharia to have. So there is a confusion. There is a very big confusion into the minds of the youth. That is what I have been saying. I've been talking. There needs to be dialogue. There needs to be. We need to tell. And these political parties, those who basically do not talk about Sharia, PMLN, People's Party, and others.
Dialogue among whom? Can we have clear marking lines between those parties that we want to have dialogue? Okay, we do agree that the students who are studying in the madrasa, and I have all respect for them, they are doing the best of their job, they're learning the religion from its deeper context. Do we like to have a dialogue with them, or the ordinary people who are sitting in the rural areas or even in the urban areas who are there to advocate for this Sharia or this Khilafat?
Well, the point is that I think there must be a dual action. The first one is that the government needs to take action on this, because the government fears that majority of the people who have been caught from the FATA or other areas, or from the operation is going on South Punjab, these guys are basically those who want Sharia. So we need to target, the government needs to target, especially what we have been seeing in KPK, Dr. Saab was mentioning, we launched operation Project Saboon, Project Michelle, and Project Spale, 3 programs of de-radicalization.
Okay.
And in all these 3 programs, those programs couldn't get caught materialized for so many other reasons, because they were not started by the civilian setup. So that has been the drawback, and the security establishment cannot continue those for a longer period of time. They don't have funds and so and so. The problem is that the government needs to do this separately, and the political parties, their own cells and their own manifestos, their own discussions, they need to do it separately.
Yeah.
This is not a job of the government alone, Dr.
Yeah,
Saab.
that's what I'm
This
saying.
is the job of the political parties on one hand,
Even
and this is
even the academics, even the civil society organizations,
everyone
and the
needs to
journalists
talk.
in the media.
Everyone needs to talk on this. That what kind of a political system we need, and whether we are having. And let me tell you, Dr. Saab, if you just start a debate on this, that what kind of a system we have to have, and whether we are on a right track or not, and how we are on right track, let the debate trigger on media.
Isn't the case that people are scared of, that they might be killed or might be attacked, they may be made a scapegoat in the society? That's why they don't want to talk about it. And every time that I want to talk about this, I'm always afraid that I may be martyred one fine morning.
Then you may go to Jannah. But the point is that you don't want to go Jannah right now. But this is what Dr. Saab, you are right.
So people are scared.
Yes, you're right.
Because there is intolerance in the society. They don't
People
want to
fear,
be
and
attacked.
especially after the case of the controversies, or people like say that do not talk on religion, do not talk on Islam. We cannot just. But this is, I think, we will have, Dr. Saab, we will have to start this process today, tomorrow,
Let's
and
move on
whenever.
from this subject. Rizwan, we have talked about the National Action Plan, which is a big strategy.
Right.
But somewhere I was sitting and they're saying that the biggest problem that Pakistan society has, we have a big education policy, big health policy, big anti-terror policy. But the link between the strategic policy and the actionable action that have to be taken at the ground level is seriously missing. Your comment on this?
My viewpoint is that we have many policies. Yes, we do.
At federal
But-
and provincial levels, yes.
We also have National Action Plan. My personal opinion is that this National Action Plan should also have its headquarters in all the 4 provinces, 5 provinces.
right.
And it should be delegated to provinces, and provinces, they should strengthen this institution, because this is institution where we are going to fight a war against terrorism.
Right.
With
So
complete
the
determination.
chain is complete from the national to the provincial to the district and to the ground level?
It is not. It should be done, there should be established a connection between provinces and the center, and it should further delegate it to the cities. One thing more I would like to say, during General Zia's time, Zia and other who were fighting in Afghan war, they just changed the curriculum. You see, curriculum has very deep impact upon the mind of the youth. This is the strategy I want to propose. In Pakistan, there is a dire need of revising curriculum, and that curriculum should include peace education. That peace education should be taught at 3 levels: primary level, second level, and higher education level.
Okay.
And with that, we can de-radicalize youth. At the same time, we can also teach them to live in a harmonious
That's right.
way.
You're saying that
That
it's a
would
part
be-
of the syllabus.
That would be complementing this National Action Plan. That
Yeah,
should
but
also
the
be the
point
part
here
of this.
is when we say that these are the poor people who are largely being recruited and targeted by these extremist elements, but the counter argument is that half of your population is not going to the schools. They are not taking up those courses in the syllabi. So how can you affect them then if you are having that syllabus or not?
That's a problem. We, as Government of Punjab, I appreciate Government of Punjab has taken initiative that no child would be out of the school. Every child would be going to the school. That's an initiative. We should revolutionize education first. That should be the first priority. And after that, this is doable, as I was proposing. Otherwise, that would have means impact, but not that desired impact I was expecting. First, the people, they should be educated. Once a child start going to the school, he would be at least be learning about what is peace, what is harmony, how to live, how to coexist with other religions, how to live in a society, what is your contribution, what are you going to make, what is the purpose
So
of
once
life.
they are in the school, then they will be facing the same syllabus that you don't want to teach them.
I didn't get your point.
No. They are out of the school, okay, fine.
Yes.
You get them enrolled into the schools, get to the primary schools and the higher school. Now they are facing the similar syllabus that you don't want for them.
That's why I'm proposing that we need to revise the syllabus.
So
We need
enrollment
to,
and the syllabus both at the same time.
at the same
Okay.
time, and revolutionize the education of all the children. And those children who are not going to the school, we must have a separate strategy to deal with them. We should make them skillful people, as the Chinese model, I would say. Chinese, I have met many people, Chinese people who were uneducated, but I asked them, what was how Chinese government, they made you skillful? They said, we have our, at city level, we have our vocational institutes. We also
Yeah.
have in Pakistan.
We have
need
the
to
NEPTEC
operationalize,
and the TECTA. They both are
strengthen
working
them
on this.
and make them skillful. At least they can earn their livelihood.
Right. Kamar, your take on this. I was in a seminar organized by one of the civil society organizations on the education issue, and that was horrible to learn that in Pakistan's 2 of the poorest districts, Jafarabad, just to present the case here, and the other one was Dadu. The dropout ratio in the primary level schools is more than 80%. Rather, Jafarabad, it was 89%. So what are we expecting out of this nation then?
I think this dropout has been a serious issue in Pakistan. I was just reading a report that was on education, that every 10 children out of school in the world, the one is a Pakistani. So that is a problem. That is a problem at all levels. The governments need to take a serious initiative on that. But somehow, as Dr. Saab has been mentioning, the enrollment problem has been an issue, and then the dropout problem has been an issue. Unfortunately, the government schools or the public schools are not that lucrative enough to suck students into the system. You do not have something to offer into the public school where the children should enjoy or feel. What's the difference in a private school? That private school has so many things for the kids in the school that the children love to go to the school. This has been for example, I met someone who basically made a de-radicalization plan into the KPK, and what is the person told me, he said that all the people, majority of the people who have been out of those who have been caught, but we have caught those and they were terrorists, they were in a double digit in a family. So if the kids are of 10 and 11 or 12, and then the likely possibility the person will drop out. What will happen? He said, he gave me a specific example. Kids went to the school, then he was 11th in the house. He was his number was 11, and what happened that in school the teacher was beating him, and he was not up to the mark, and when he came house he was not getting the attention of the parents. The parents only give attention to the top 4, 5, 6, 7, and the rest of the 3, 4
law of diminishing affection.
And what would happen when the teacher will beat him, or they will go for a punishment, he will go outside the school, he will be sitting there, and what will happen? The other day, the van of the Taliban came, and he just, why is he sitting here? He said that the teacher beat me, and they picked him and they went, and within the next 2-3 years, they made him a suicide bomber. There has been a problem. So you do not have a lucrative things into the school where the students should love to go to the school.
Thank you very much for pointing this out. Incidentally, tomorrow is the World Population Day, and this year theme is also about the people who have been left out of this system, and they are being radicalized, or the extreme elements of society, they are taking care of them. So Dr. Rizwan, on this World Population Day, alhamdulillah, mashallah, we are around 200 million people, although we don't have the census, but according to all estimates that we are around that, and we are going to overtake Indonesia pretty soon. This may be a blessing for us in many ways, but with this population, which is largely uneducated, and of course, many segments of them have extremist tendencies and radicalization, is it a benefit for us or a bane for us?
It's a challenge for us. Challenge in a way that we have a huge population, and unfortunately, that is unskillful, uneducated, a larger part of our society. And they are multiplying.
I have problems even with the educated ones.
Well, I would say, Dr. Gauri, if an educated person is giving birth to 2 or 3 or 5 or 7, at least he knows they are great responsibility, and he needs to take a good care of them. And I have seen personally, that's my personal observation, they take children very seriously, like the Western society. They try to make them a good citizen in the society, and that is what is needed on the other part as well. They are multiplying, and I would like to point out one thing. Our society need to be aware of this, that this population explosion is a challenge. It's not a boon, or it's not going to benefit our, as you just rightly mentioned, our society is full of radical ideologies.
According to Malthian principle, the population grows geometrically. So if it is growing like this, so we can imagine that by 2030 we'll be crossing maybe 300 million mark.
And he said that the population is increasing by 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and then resource is 2, 4, 8, 6. This is that's an issue.
So. Is it on the agenda of the Pakistani government? We have never thought about it. On any political party's agenda, there isn't. Even Bangladesh, who have been once part of Pakistan, and they were more in numbers than when they separated from us, but now they have controlled it. They are lesser in number than we have. We have something of a special mechanism in our genes or DNA.
Again, those radical ideologies in the name of Islam, it becomes an impediment to control the population. I have read about Indian system. Indian system, what they do, empower their women. Once they empower the women, is well aware of her rights. Once women are aware of their rights, at least they can control the population. And similarly, as you mentioned, Bangladesh, that is also a model which is going to be a successful model. Chinese, they adopted a different system. They made the population skillful, which became
Is it, sorry, is it really related with extremism and terrorism and that the population is going on at a very high rate in Pakistan?
partially.
Partially, it is
Partially
responsible.
because I personally, I have one child. And I really face criticism from other corners. I go around and people, they say, oh, this is not fair. You have one child. I say, oh, I know a child is a great responsibility. I need to educate her and I need to give her all the things what she deserves in her life. So that is why I have seen around people, they relate it to the Islamic way, that Islam does not ask you to control the population.
Okay.
So if you are doing this, that is quite un-Islamic.
We are not here to declare it Islamic or un-Islamic. It's a people's choice. But
Yeah,
Islam
their
also says it
personal
goes
opinion.
for the middle way. So, Kabar, do you also relate this population explosion with the growing extremism in Pakistan?
Well, in case if one doesn't take care of his children, one thing, and second, the governments, they are not into the net of the government. That is the problem. For example, if a poor man who cannot send his children schools and then, you know, he cannot give them a good livelihood, so the problem is that definitely those children will slip somewhere.
They're
That
burden
is-
on a society.
That is the problem. So the question is, here the government needs to take this initiative, and for that there must give, for example, if there would be 2 children, anyone would be having 2 children, we will give them free education till, you know, the grade 16. That this is something you can give them, that if I will have this number of children, so you have to
There's
give.
some punishment as well for more than 2 3
Well,
going on?
well, you know, you can't have the punishment because
They're already being punished.
In China, they do. They fire from the government service. If the person
Yeah.
is a government servant and if he violates the rules, and then he's right. The incentive.
Yeah, incentive. So you need to give incentives for this, and you need to make people aware about this issue. And this has been a serious issue. And I remember the former population minister, although this subject has been devolved now, the former population minister asked the religious scholars to give sermons in the mosque.
They are not.
And they're not giving, because this is directly, that is a conflict of interest, you know. So they are not giving the sermons there. So they need to give sermons, and they need to talk to the people that we have. And unfortunately, we didn't have population censuses last, you know, 18 years. So every 10 years we have to have, but unfortunately we are just trying to shy away from that. And if we do not know how many people are there, how can we make policies for the public? This has been a serious drawback. And every time we make we plan for a population census and something, you know, happens.
Okay.
So this is-
Rizwan, how about this that we have started a kind of a crackdown against the hate speech and the publications that were there in the market, that the takfiri publications from the one sect to the other sect, and I have heard, particularly in Punjab and Sindh, that they have been cracking down against them, and these all books have been lifted from the market. That's one good step. But what about the people who are preaching on the Friday sermons? What about the people who are interacting with the youth? What about the people who have other means of communication with them, and they're still advocating that hate? Do we have any plan for them?
Unfortunately, we do not have a plan for them. We need to chart out a very comprehensive strategy to deal with kind of issue. As you said, we have cracked down on various, but what about internet? On internet still, we can, how many sites we can block? And one more thing which came to my notice, one of my friend who is working in law enforcement agency just told me that what do they do after publishing? They drop in their homes, in people's home, and there is no check upon that as well. It's very hard for the law enforcement to capture those people. Even in the middle of the night, somebody comes and drops in your home. So
Those
still
pamphlets or the books?
Pamphlets. They are dropping, and especially they are targeting those people who are motivated with them. Government needs to do 2-3 things, and the first of thing is that they need to chart out a strategy, and even on voluntary basis, they should select people. They need to point out. Actually, people do not trust the government, do not trust the system. Once they say, if I am exposed and my life is in danger. So we need to build the trust first, because this is a common, in the common good, in the collective good. So that is why if people from the society who are facing this kind of challenges, who are receiving this kind of literature, they can rightly point out at what time who comes and who does that. Even the websites on the electronic, I would say social media. This kind of challenges, if we do not stop that, this hate speech continues. As you said in sermons and this and that, for that this is quite easy because we need to have some observers who can observe on round basis.
This is a very much guarded place for the mullahs and for the religious leaders, and they guard it very jealously. You cannot intervene on their ground.
We cannot intervene, but at least the government has the power to do all the things happen.
Yeah. Kamal?
Well, I was just saying that there have been little improvement on it. And what has been improvement? For example, the Interior Ministry has got its helpline 1717, and Dr. Saab, you would be
Yeah, dekho to bolo.
Oh, yeah.
Dekho to bolo. And
Yes.
more than 64,000
Complaints
have been
already.
Yes.
Where are you quoting these numbers
Yes,
from?
I am quoting, and I can give you the figures. One thing.
Okay.
Second, on hate speech, more than 9,000 cases have been registered just in last year, and more than 9,000 people have been caught on it. And I have gave a presentation a few days ago on it, and I have got the statistics.
Okay.
And then more
That's
than
impressive.
900 URLs have been blocked, and dozen websites have been blocked. Work is on progress. Things are not the way we are looking. For example, the doctor was mentioning, the point is that there are national action plans committees at district level. I met one of my friend who comes in the federal government, and he regularly attends the meetings where all the provinces come and talk about the national action plan. Even the committees have been constructed at the district level, where the deputy commissioner and other people are talking on it. So, and they have been giving instructions to the police station and down there. Even in just Muharram, I have seen that a plethora of the people were the cases were registered against a large number of people, and that has been happening. The work is going on, but all what we have been saying that the soft components need to be targeted vigorously by all the four the provincial units and by the Gilgit and the Kashmiris. They need to look at that, and the police and everyone and the society. And majority of the complaints that have been filed from the intelligence information was given by the public.
Okay.
The public gave the intelligence to, and it was not by
Do you have the data that which parts of the country they are coming from, the rural or the urban parts, or the
Well, I
southern or
don't
the
have
northern
this
parts?
data about that from where they're coming, but as I mentioned, that was all across from Pakistan. The data has been collected by different people, organizations, but there has been a significant improvement, or there is a conscious level there.
People are conscious.
People are conscious,
cognizant of this fact.
yes.
So, just last thoughts, Dr. Rizwan. What about this international pressure that is being built on Pakistan that we might be supporting some of the Taliban elements in Afghanistan or things like that? How should we deal with it? Because we might have some associations with Afghan Taliban, but they are not at our beck and call.
Well, historically, the mistake we made was just considering external pressures. Or you see, 79 to 89 war was not Pakistan's war. 2001 to onward war, American-led war, was not Pakistan's war, and that is why we suffered. Now it has become our war. Now, because our people died, we need to take it seriously and just ignoring international pressure. I know international pressure can do nothing. Once we get rid of this, the menace of terrorism and extremism, Pakistan has a very bright future.
Okay, Kamar, your take on foreign involvement and foreign pressure that is coming on Pakistan?
Oh, well, definitely the government is working on that. The security establishment is very vigilant and very active. But I think there needs to be a comprehensive approach from the civilians and the military on that. And there has been a gap somewhere. It has been felt, or people have been talking on that. And the gap that must not be there, because that reduces the effectiveness of the one arm of the government if it is effective and the other ones are not. So that I think the civilians and the military, the both, that needs to work collectively to thwart every kind of conspiracy that is
Thank you
coming.
very much, Dr. Rizwan, and thank you very much, Kamar Chima, for sharing your very valuable thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Action Plan is already being implemented in various stages and at the various phases and in different parts of the country. But the softer part, as both the participants have pointed out, the softer part, or the targeting the mind or the paradigm of the people, this is the one big concern. Government should also get up, but also the people of Pakistan. If you are a father or a mother or elder brother or a grandfather or elder sister, you must ask yourself what your siblings, what your younger ones, what your next generation is talking about. Where are they going? Where do you want them to be? The democracy is there and the system is working in Pakistan. If they are going to be radicalized, if their pattern of living is changing, if they are thinking some of the things that is taking them to the extremist positions, you must be worried about it. You must think about it. You must be considerate of the fact what is happening around you. If you see some graffiti here and there on the walls in your surrounding area, the hate speech is going on, and this Dekho To Bolo campaign that is being carried out in Punjab, and I hope it's also being followed in other parts of the country as well. You must be talking about this, and you must be taking care of your children, your society, your environment as far as the radicalization and hate is concerned. Your comments and suggestions are more than welcome at facebook.com/Dr. Zubair Ghori official, and my Twitter handle is Dr. Zubair Ghori. That's all from us tonight. Have a very good night. Allah Hafiz.